was like maybe just under an hour.
Yeah.
We kind of just flew through some questions. All right, let's hit them with the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Brick by Brick podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a podcast centered around OpTic Gaming and their infamous fan base of the Green Wall. Every episode features a different member of the Green Wall, and we kind of get to know their story with how they fell in love with OpTic, when they started watching them, some of their favorite moments, etc. On today's episode, we have Helgy. He is a longtime OpTic Gaming fan. He is a soccer coach. And Helgy, if you want to introduce yourself real quick before we dive into this a little bit more.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? My name is Peyton Helgeson. Like you said, longtime OpTic fan. Outside of COD and OpTic, like you said, I'm a soccer coach. Been playing soccer since I was a kid. Grew up, graduated high school, and kind of rotated back in and coach at the school I went to. So.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I feel like that's like kind of traditional. Like if you're a high school coach, I feel like that's kind of like the normal path to take as you end up coaching back at the places that you grew up in.
Yeah, it's just kind of a environment you're used to, a program you kind of put a lot of time into playing, and it's nice to give back and help the next generation of players. It's fun.
For sure. I played football for 9 years, basketball for 5, track for 4. But football, that was like the big one. 9 years, that's a long time.
Long time.
Had no interest to go back and coach it though. I wouldn't say I love football. It's just the sport that I got into the earliest.
Right.
Versus I feel like you kind of have to love the sport and like the community and the programming to get back into it as coaching. Cause like, I feel like that's where the giving back really kicks in. All right, let's dive into this though. First off, I ask every guest the same introduction question, similar to how Hex does on the Eavesdrop. And the introduction question is, what does OpTic Gaming and the Green Wall mean to you?
That's a good one. Good one.
I feel like I'm actually really interested to hear your answer because you're a coach.
Yeah, so it's like we're gonna go way back. I started playing COD from like COD 2, and it wasn't even my idea. I got it for Christmas. I was into like the sports games, and I started playing COD, and I just fell in love with it in the early games, like COD 2, like I said, and just playing it consistently. And there got to a point where I just kind of started getting involved with the scene, and I heard about this COD XP tournament, the Modern Warfare 3 one. And so I tuned in to watch it, and who won? Green Wall. And so me being a little elementary, middle school kid at the time, I was like, you know what? That's the team. And I didn't really take it seriously through Modern Warfare 3, kind of watched here and there. And then as Black Ops 2 hit is really when I caught that competitive stride. And I just rocked with the Green Wall and, Scumpy and Nate Shot and Big Timer and those guys and Hector, their community outside of the competition base, like the content they were putting out, you just grow attached to it. It's hard not to like them.
It's a solid answer.
Yeah,
I dig it. That's actually really similar to my journey into at least competitive COD. My first COD the first COD I played was Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1 on PS2. But I didn't really get into it. It was like I rented it from, I don't know, Blockbuster or whatever. Played it. It was fun, but I didn't really pick up COD until Modern Warfare 2. It's funny because I actually remember this was I think junior midget year of football, which if you don't use the Pee-wee, junior Pee-wee system or whatever, that's what 7th grade, I believe.
Yeah.
6th or 7th grade. I heard some of the other kids that were kind of more star athletes talking about Call of Duty 4. And I was not part of the conversation because it wasn't really my crowd quite yet. And then a couple years later, I picked up MW2. One of my buddies was talking about it. He's like, dude, you got to pick up this game. It's got kill streaks and stuff. You get X amount of kills, you get a call in a radar. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So I picked it up. And then looking back, I'm like, oh, wait, they were all talking about COD 4 back in the day. So I picked up MW2 and then got big into the sniper community. That's when I got introduced to OpTic, was early 2010, literally January or so, 2010. Saw them as a sniping team, and then fast forward to COD XP 2011. That was the first taste of competitive Call of Duty that I witnessed. And MW3, as anyone that has been watching this long, anyone that's been watching this long knows MW3 was not the most competitive year. Didn't have a ton of tourneys and whatnot. Didn't have the greatest developer support. So after COD XP, I was like a pub stomper again until Black Ops 2. And that's when I really got to see the competitive side of it. So sniper first and then journey into competitive side of it. And those are like the golden days. You know, I look back and I've told a few people, some of the newer fans, like I remember when they announced the 60-50 move. And like how big of a thing that was. Obviously everyone looks back at that and they're like, oh, like the Scuff House, the 60-50. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, you weren't there.
Right? Yeah.
It was so crazy because, you know, when you're watching that and you're like, and it sparks the idea, it's like, oh my gosh, I want me and my friends to get a house like that where we
exactly. I was
just
gonna
play
say it
games
hits like
all
that.
day.
Oh, that could be me.
Yep.
And like it's something I think
exactly
about
what it
sometimes lately. Like Hex said it in a video, or maybe it was one of the eavesdrops or something a while back, where he was like, it's weird because a lot of people, I feel like they'll look at something and they're like, oh, that's really cool, but they never consider like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people just have that, like, I don't know if it's like self-doubt or self-esteem issues or society pressures just telling you like, like just, that's only for a certain type of person.
Yeah, like how would I get there?
Yeah, no but way. It's like, nah, anybody. I'm a big fan of David Goggins as well. And he talks about that a lot. If you've ever listened to either his book or any of he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast 2 times. If you're athletic at all, which obviously you've been playing soccer for pretty much your whole life, you'd probably dig his mentality at the least. It's like, awesome. It's like the mama mentality. It just
right.
Stop making excuses, go get it done.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even like a big basketball guy. It's just, I mean, that
the mama mentality like transcended
anything,
basketball,
you know,
though.
Exactly. And that's what stuck with me for that.
Just that's the grind.
That's one of my things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just the grind. It's always improving, always getting better.
Be better than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you are today.
Mm-hmm.
You fall, get back up.
You know, train like you play. So you practice like you play.
Yeah,
like,
which is
take practice off.
What level of soccer do you coach?
So right now, it's high school. I'm the assistant coach for the varsity team.
Okay.
One of my old teammates that I teamed with all the way up from elementary to high school is actually the JV1 head coach, and he's been coaching since we were in high school. This is my first actual year. So I have the JV2 team. So in our program, there's 3 teams. You know, the top however many guys get selected for the varsity, and the next group gets selected by my friend who's the JV1 coach, and then I get kind of everybody that's left in the JV2 program.
Okay. So is that like your freshman team is like basically JV2?
It used to be that way, where it used to be freshmen and sophomores, and then juniors, seniors, and then varsity as a whole.
Okay.
But now it's actually just freshman through senior, you know, top tier go here, middle tier, and then
I'm not opposed to that actually. Tier. That's kind of, I feel like that's probably a better system.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think like in my high school, the only sport that you really saw that in was like sometimes baseball. Our soccer team was trash. In basketball, occasionally you'd see a freshman on the varsity team for basketball, but for the most part, it was freshman team. Your JV team was your sophomores, and then the varsity was junior and seniors. But I do like the idea because if you are a star athlete as a freshman,
you can
like it's going to improve you a lot to be playing with other high caliber players, especially if they're older than you, because usually the juniors and seniors, like they've got the mentality for it a little bit more.
They have the experience.
They've got the experience, and especially seniors, if they're looking to do this in college, they have that grinder mentality that they can, that like if you're around that all the time, if you're practicing with them, it makes a big difference. It's a super impressionable age.
Yeah, and you definitely see it like out there on the field. Like right now, I think there's 2 freshmen that start, or 2 or 3 freshmen that start on the varsity team. They're really good, but you know, as a freshman, you get that call to be on the varsity roster, and you kind of, are you going to be cocky with it? Or are you going to
Yeah, so I
understand
think
that
it's
you
hard
have
for a
room to
lot of
grow?
people that age to not
And I
get the
think
ego.
our guys are on this side where they understand where they're at. They understand, they're humble, and
Good.
they are learning and, you know, working hard, and it shows. They're, I think, top 3 team in the state right now.
Good. See, I
So at
feel
the
like
varsity
that's what's
level.
always tough is the ego thing when you get pulled
Yeah.
up. You know, you're
Oh yeah.
14 years old, you get pulled up to play with people that are supposed to be going to college after this.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep your ego in check and stay humble.
And, you know, I've
How
been around.
I mean, if you've been
Wait,
playing soccer your whole life, like how is ego the same in soccer as it is in other
see,
sports? I feel like it's
it's
not as bad.
I mean, that's the thing, is it can be. Like, I've been around soccer teams for as long as I can
Yeah.
remember, and I've been a part of different teams, whether it be, you know, my club team, my middle school team, my high school
Mm-hmm.
team. There's teams that can get just straight up torn apart by egos,
Okay.
where, you
So
know,
it's
you
pretty
get,
much the same as like most sports and
yep.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It follows suit, and it's really a, how well can this team mesh together and put their egos aside, and that's where you'll see the teams go make runs at a state championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's that, and I feel like coaching is it's not less important, but like in the actual game, how much do you like in your opinion does a coach play a role? Because like I played
So
football, so it's like the coach plays a big role because they're calling all the plays.
right.
So it's like one of our
Um,
downfalls. We had a pretty solid team to be honest.
mhm,
Decent amount of star athletes and like D2 college level players.
right,
And our biggest downfall was I think with the particular like type of players we had, we didn't run the best offense for them.
right.
We were like trying to put a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah,
And I feel
yeah.
like with different coaching, if they would have coached us according to the player base that we had, we would have been a lot
Hmm.
better.
Yeah. And it's so in soccer, it kind of depends on your team. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, round peg, square hole. For instance, at the varsity level, the coach can put his 11 guys out there and just sit and watch. And
Yeah.
ideally, they know what they
I would
have to
say
do,
yeah, they should know what they have to
and
do.
he can get up and talk and make adjustments throughout the game. Where maybe at my level, where the guys aren't so fundamentally sound,
Mm-hmm.
tactically
They don't have
sound in
that
the game,
experience
I
as
kind of have to
much.
direct them. You know what I mean? I might have to tell a guy,
Yeah.
"Hey, you gotta pinch in to help defensively, but when we get the ball, can you press wide and stretch their defense?" You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Soccer, and I've had to break this down for some of the guys, because some of these guys, like,
Well, it's
they just
different
play
too
soccer.
because the game doesn't really stop as much as football,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Like in football, you get
It's
four.
constantly adapting. You know, you can
Yeah.
be on offense and defense within
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Which is
Whether,
similar to like I mean I played basketball, so I guess the flow of the
yeah,
game is similar to
yep,
basketball.
similar.
Um and yeah, so like in that I feel like our talent was able to get us a little bit further because we weren't relying on a coach calling a particular play.
Right.
Whereas football, I feel like that was a big role. Is like we had one athlete that I don't know how much you pay attention to football, but he's a really good
Love
like off
football.
tackle runner, but we send him straight down the middle way too often.
And that's
But it's
just,
like he goes off tackle, and if
you
you
gotta
actually
play to
look,
his strengths.
yeah, like if you looked at his average yards per carry down the
Yeah.
middle versus off tackle, it was like he was basically
Astronomical
getting
difference.
yeah, and but he was our only athlete that was capable of going up the middle as well as he
Right.
was. Like we could have put other people there, but they would have got pretty beat
Mhm.
up.
Yeah, I'm into football. I'm really into football. I
Okay.
played in high school, but I didn't play in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know how it is.
you played, but you were like,
I just have the soccer player build. Like, I'm into it. I really like the sport.
I
I
mean,
love
listen.
watching.
As far as builds go, look, I'm 5'9". I'm like 145, 150 pounds. All right, I played tight end for 9 years. All right, I got
Yeah.
my teeth kicked in by the time I hit junior year.
And so I really like football from, like, the tactical point. Like, I can
Mm-hmm.
watch it, and I can, you know, I think I'm pretty decent at kind of predicting how
Yeah,
scenarios are played, or how the game
strategy
should be
wise and
played.
stuff. Yeah,
You know, I'm a huge college football guy, more than the NFL a little bit.
I think
NFL's good. I really
the
like the NFL, but
college sports
the
people are still proving something.
Yeah,
And I
the
feel like it
passion
shows a
behind
lot.
college football is so
Yeah.
nice. And I live in a state in this around the city. Like I'm in Iowa. So I'm a
Okay.
huge Hawkeye fan, and I live 15 minutes from where Iowa plays. And so it's, growing up, went to games,
Yeah.
Saturday, we'd be down in Iowa City, whether we were going into the game or just tailgating. And it's something I just grew up around, and it's really, really fun. Just the atmosphere of being in the stadium,
Oh,
at a
dude,
college
live events are. I love that kind of
land.
atmosphere. Right? Yeah, and I think it applies to all things.
All things.
So let's spin this
100%.
back to Call of Duty. I just wanted
Yep.
to get an idea because I don't know.
Mhm.
The whole
Right.
point of this is just to kind of get to know different fans,
Right.
right? And if I ever see you at an event or anything, like
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah, for
know all of
sure.
this that we just talked about.
Right.
Which is super cool. And another thing that I thought about very shortly after the first couple episodes was like, if anyone in OpTic ever sees this, they're gonna know their fans a
Right.
lot better.
Right.
They'll be like, "Oh, you're the soccer coach." Like that's super dope. And obviously, Hex and actually a lot of the guys in
Mhm.
OpTic are big into soccer.
Yeah. Something quick. Something quick.
Yeah.
If any of the Opti guys see this, shout out to Dashy. He followed me on Twitter. That's the man
Hey,
right there. That's the
Bruce.
man right there. Yeah.
Good old Brucey. So we've
Mhm.
already talked a lot about your background and whatnot. Call of Duty wise, like, do you play competitively or are you
Yeah.
mostly just a spectator?
Nope. I play pretty much any time I'm playing COD. It's majority competitive base. I'll sometimes get on and hop on the pubs and just kind of
Either like
chill for a
League
little
play or
bit.
GB user?
But league play, GBs, eights are my favorite things to do. So like I don't really touch Warzone. I'm not a BR guy.
I'm
I
pretty
went on the
burnt out on
Fortnite high.
BRs.
Went on the Fortnite high for a little bit, but went straight back to COD after.
Fair
It's
enough.
just like it's the same thing with soccer for in football for me. It's the tactical
Yeah,
fundamental
I would say the
ability of
problem
the
with
game and the
BRs
strategic.
for me, it was a nice change of pace, but now
Mhm.
I'm tired of the randomness. I like
Yeah,
predictable scenarios.
right. And
And
it's
that's what, especially 4v4 versus 5v5.
4v4 so much better.
The way it plays, being able to predict scenarios. Like I was just talking
It's less
to Stryat on the last episode, and I was talking about that. I was like, yeah, like I think my bigger strengths in Call of Duty is the mental game.
yeah, being able to put yourself in the situation to outplay your opponent,
Yeah,
right?
like I
I
don't
mean,
have the best gun skill.
winning a gunfight's whatever, but do I know how to play a power position where I can,
Yeah,
use teamwork to win the
yeah.
map?
Can you fill a particular lane and
Yeah, and
whatnot?
that's what I really like about it. And I think it might just be the coach in me, and I
I
don't know.
I think it's probably a bit of that sports background, and then if you just generally like strategy and the
Mhm.
tactical side of it, like it's probably a mixture
Yeah.
of all that. Because
Right.
that's kind of how I'm like playing sports growing up. Like everything's about strategy and who can
Mhm.
outplay and outsmart and stuff like that. And then take that into Call of Duty, and it's like the same thing.
Yeah. It's just, can you play fundamentally sound, like the best
Yeah,
fundamentals? And I mean, the crazy stuff's gonna happen. Like you're gonna get three-pieced or something
yeah.
crazy
Like
like that,
there's gonna be certain stuff that you can't
and
control.
that's where the special, like the specialness of it comes, where
Hmm.
it's like the exciting moments, but at the raw
Yeah.
level, can
Well,
I
it's
be?
like, I mean, you look at any sport, and they have those hype moments, right? They have the buzzer beater
Right.
moment where the whole game, maybe both teams played fundamentally sound, but then
Yeah, and
a
it just
buzzer
comes
beater
down
is
to
like
the
the
one
same as a
shot.
three piece,
Yeah,
right? Or like a clutch
exactly.
round 11,
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
just that second of hype is what brings the magic into
Mhm.
it, I guess.
Yeah.
So back to OpTic. In your opinion, what makes OpTic special versus other organizations? You and I have a similar story as far as introduction to OpTic and reason for following them.
Yeah.
But there's obviously, especially now, so many big organizations. You have FaZe and 100 Thieves are two of the other biggest orgs.
Yeah.
Like, what separates OpTic from the pack, in your opinion?
I think it's just the level of consistency, because it's since Black Ops 2 or like early Black Ops 2 that they've been putting out, content for their fans that grow these attachments where you see it. I don't really see much content from Envy, back in those days, or TK or the other
Mm-hmm.
squads back then that grow their attachment other than them competing. And so if I can, go home from school and see an OpTic, an Scumpy playing a league play match, and I get to watch that, and then all right, what's up now? Nade Shots, he's posting their road to 100-0 back in the day, and
Mm-hmm.
you get to watch those videos, and they've done it consistently year in year out all the way from then till now, and it's actually gotten more professional and the production's gotten a lot
Production's
better, and
gotten insane
it's
now.
Roger's the man on that
Dude,
one.
Raj,
Their whole
Hitch,
staff,
yeah,
Hitch back in the day,
Josefo.
they do such a good job. And actually, it's also not just the players, because Hitch and TST, they're like they've
Got
been
their own little thing. Like
I honestly might like those guys better than the individual players. I love TST.
dude, TST,
I have a
yeah,
lot of their merch. They just do it so
I've
well.
got a lot of their merch.
Like, I mean, it's just, because you got Maniac, you got Bows, you got guys that aren't competing that are also involved. It's almost like just a whole group that, they just do it so well, and it's just so consistent over so much time. You just grow attached. It's always there.
Yeah. I think a big part of that is, on top of everything you said, is like, I think Hex is one of the few owners that almost forces the people within OpTic to make content and grow their own brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even if they don't really want to do it like themselves, like, okay, Bose has Rich and Lonely, but he doesn't really post a lot of content.
Right.
But like,
but he participates in their group content.
Yeah, you still have content days where it's like everybody's got to show up, right? Big T doesn't post a ton of his own content. He's trading stocks, making some good money all the time, but right, he's still a part of the content days.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still get that involvement even from the guys that are a little bit more detached from it. Like Hex still forces them into the content in some way. And I think like something I think about a lot is all these organizations have these massive facilities, right? You have the 100 Thieves Cash App compound. You have the Energy Castle.
That thing's crazy.
You've got the Envy one. I haven't actually like seen it, but I've only heard like how professional and insane their facility is. And then you have the Hex quarters, right? Which is like, I don't know how much you follow Casey Neistat, but
not that much, but I know
at one point he wanted to launch 368 Studio, which is supposed to be like this kind of creative hub in New York. It was like a building that he rented out where anyone could like come and hang out and like make content together. I feel like Hex executed that perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like anyone within OpTic, you all have access to it. There's the equipment there. There's the cameras, the rigs, the setups that you need. But on top of that, somebody's always there. Like you're never going to be at the Hex quarters alone. It's just
an environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like on those,
and it's laid back too. Like the whole vibe of the environment's laid back.
But on their days where they have to come in and shoot, it's like you want to be there,
right?
You know what I mean? It sounds
like, yo, I gotta go to a content day,
right, exactly. And it doesn't seem as forced. Like, yeah, you have to be there, but not only do you have to be there, you want to be there because it's just such a good environment for them to.
And it's like these are your friends too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you like all this company. I think we're at a place now where obviously content houses and stuff were a thing, but I feel like they're kind of dying off. But I think a big problem with them was the fact that you're living with them 24/7.
Exactly.
So it's like you're there to make content together, but eventually you're gonna
always around each other.
Eventually you're gonna be on each other's nerves. You're gonna have these pet peeves, right? Like if someone's kind of messy and you're a neat freak, like eventually that's going to just make your content together bad because you're like, yo, I hate this person. I like where we're at now, where a lot of communities are coming up with, like you said, like a neutral space where it's like we all live our own lives, but we all have this place we come to hang out and just make dope videos.
Yeah, and I think they learned that over the two houses that they had. And I think it just shows.
Well, I think between the two houses they had and then also the more corporate office that Infinite Esports and Entertainment and Immortals introduced, It was like,
Yeah.
that's too professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're killing
Where's
our
the middle
creative
ground?
juice. Yeah.
Yeah. Where is that middle ground?
The
I think
hex
they did
quarters.
such a good job of it.
Yeah. I think it needs to be bigger. I think they're outgrowing the space a little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, yeah, they've done it perfectly.
Yeah.
One thing that I think they would benefit from having a bigger space there would be like when you do have these content days, I feel like you have to make these little rooms. Like they've got the walls basically built and they have to go like move all this furniture to get it to like they have to form the set.
Right.
I think it'd be beneficial if they had a big enough space where that set was kind of always there.
Work on buying out that whole building.
Something like that.
Hey, something.
But who knows? Maybe that building the set kind of sets the tone for it all too.
Right.
Right. For the people there, like.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens behind closed doors, off the screen.
So, other than that, yeah, I think they've done a really good job. I think it's the perfect strategy. Currently, like, I don't see what that next step would be. Like, which granted, during the whole team house thing, we didn't see what, like, the hex quarter, like, what that neutral space could look like. We thought the house was it. But I'm curious to see, like what's the next best solution. Currently, I don't think there is one. I think the neutral space idea is about as good as it gets.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's not a lot of people that will have that answer, but I know one of them. Probably Hector. He always has the answer.
Right. He's always looking for something different.
Yeah. He's got that Mamba mentality.
Dude, he sure does.
He's got it.
He sure does. So on that, speaking on like Immortals and stuff, by the way, what did you do during that whole thing, right? You've been watching for a long time now, since 2011. What did you do when Hex was no longer at the helm? And then more importantly, last year during the CDO where it was OpTic Gaming Los Angeles?
I mean, and I think they did such a good job of proving that it's more than a brand, it's the people behind the brand. And so when all that went down and, you know, Hector wasn't at the helm anymore, we still rocked with them. And then after the season concluded and they went to Huntsman, I obviously became a Huntsman fan. It's Scumpy, it's Hector. Those are the people that I like. Those are the people that I watch. I'm not going to watch, no offense to the OpTic Gaming LA crew,
but like
it just wasn't the same. They tried to do the content. I think Hector proved them wrong, that it's not the brand. It's the people behind it. And you saw when they created the Huntsman Twitter, it instantly shot up on follows, and the Huntsman channel shot up on subs. It's, you know.
Well, it's definitely, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, it's the people behind the brand. And if you can grow your brand to the point, I think that's a big deal with content, right? Because I think a lot of brands have good brands.
Yeah.
But if you're not pushing to...
Got to be consistent.
Like, what happens if, for some reason, right, your brand dies? Like, if you never created content about yourself and being behind the brand,
right, then
how are you going to launch your next thing? Like, you're going to be starting from scratch again. If you actually spent time developing a personal brand. And someone I think that did this really well actually was TP, Courage, and Octane. They've all spent time on OpTic, but during their time on OpTic, they did such a good job growing their own fan base that now none of those guys are affiliated with OpTic, but they're still really successful. Courage was able to just take all his fans, and they stayed with him when he went to 100 Thieves. TP, same thing. Octane, not quite at the same level, follower and fan base wise, but he's on. Yeah, like the consistency's there.
Yeah,
he makes the content.
And some pros do a good job. Like Attach does a good job.
Dude, Attach does a really good job.
I love Attach. He's been one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Outside of OpTic, he's probably my favorite player. Him and Zuma.
I've got a lot of those at this point.
I mean,
because so many of these guys have spent time on OpTic at some point in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much if you spend time on OpTic for any okay amount of time and then you leave, I'm not letting you go. Like, I'm still going to be a fan.
Right. I could have used OpTic Octane for another year though. Oh, that one
I
hurt.
really wanted him to come back. I love Dashy. I love that we got Dashy. I don't think the team would work any other way, but part of me really wanted Octane to come instead.
Okay. From the CDL standpoint, I mean, like I said, we've been watching since what, Black Ops 2. These players that have been playing for so long, I don't really see a reason to hate any of them. You know what I mean? So I don't really hate anybody in the
I was
league.
talking
I
about
just
that
kind of
with Strat
I
too.
I like what they're doing outside. I mean, when they're competing against OpTic, I hope they lose. But outside of that, I love watching Call of Duty. So I'll watch every series. And outside of OpTic, I'm neutral. So I want each team to do well. I love just watching all the
Well, and it's so
matches.
competitive now too because they shrunk it down
So
to
fun to watch.
to just 12 teams. Like every team has a solid roster, and you saw it last year when the Mutineers came out of nowhere and went back to back.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that was insane.
Out of nowhere,
was
right?
insane.
And you're seeing it this year. This year's even more competitive. We haven't had consistently dominant teams, right? You had the Gorillas upset phase. You have a handful of teams that are consistently on top of the pack.
That top four, but anybody can beat anybody.
Like it's becoming really like traditional sports in that sense. Whoever shows up on that day can earn the victory.
That's why it's so fun to watch. Not like just your team. You can watch any match, and any match can be a banger.
But again, if you're playing OpTic, you better not be winning that. OpTic is taking the dub. All right.
Right. That's what's
but
up.
There's I like a lot of the teams now just because of like the rocker between Gary V and Midnight. Like I like the rocker.
Right, exactly.
The Surge, I'm not like a Surge fan, but I do like Octane. I like Karma, so when he was on there. NYSL, like Clayster.
Right, it's just hard to like.
Even
it's hard to not like
Empire, like Empire's Envy in my eyes. They're the Classico.
Yeah.
They're like the sister team to OpTic. So in Crims, I do like Crim 6. Like he's everything happened, but like outside of the game, Crim 6 is still a dope dude.
Right, and he still put 3-4 years in the OpTic of and they were dominant. He was part of that dynasty roster.
Yeah,
the best
like
roster
the falling
ever.
out maybe got a little ugly, but
and
I still dig it. The falling out between Scump and Formal got ugly too, but now look at him.
Right, and exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure on Twitter I've seen that Crim and Scump have kind of crushed it. They might not be on the best terms, but they don't hate each other.
No, I think from what I've seen on Twitter, it looks like they're pretty neutral at least.
And another thing is, it's really fun to watch rosters. How maybe you'll have a roster and they'll drop a player and they get picked up by a team, and then like
how certain players and teams click.
Yep.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how like obviously it's a team game, but sometimes one player can make a difference if the chemistry is there.
Right. Well, just watching like the flow of roster mania throughout the years. You get players that have teamed like way back when, and they come back and team together, or it's like they've always been a little rivalry, and now they're on different teams, but there's still a little rivalry there.
Yeah. Well, it's like Aches, no matter where Aches ever goes.
Exactly.
Like in my head,
he's
he's always gonna be like OpTic's kryptonite, kind of. Yeah. And like I actually agree with a lot of what he says in regards to the state of the game and how to develop a game competitively. But like I still hate the dude. Like respect the crap out of him.
Respect, but it's like damn, just always there.
Yeah. The hate, it's not quite on the same level as like growing up being a Lakers fan. Like
hating the Celtics.
Yeah, I had the only player on that entire team ever of all time that like I've openly respected was Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
Like
he won a chip with the Lakers.
I just really like his really like his play style. Like but everyone else that's been on anyone else that was on that team from like 2000 to like 2013 besides Rondo.
Can't rock with them.
Like I almost can't even respect him. Kevin Garnett, like I want to respect him, but like I almost can't. It's like
and there's like I think the rivalries in COD aren't that, you know what I mean, where the fan bases
Yeah.
just hate each other and the players hate
No,
each
I
other. I don't
don't.
think it's the same in COD, and I kind of
I think it's
respect
because
that a little more.
we all understand that we've built this together.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I think
also,
those rivals, if the CDL is successful, I think in 20 years you're gonna have
it might
teams
get
that hate
there.
each other. Yeah, because think
I don't
about
know about the
like
teams. It'd be hard for the teams because you're
I'm
scrimming. You
thinking
know what
like
I
what does
mean?
early like NBA look like?
I guess that's
Right,
true.
the first like 5 years of the NBA, did they all think like, oh, we built this together, so like we don't really hate each other? But I don't know.
And
That
it
was
just kind of
also in like the
develops.
50s and shit. So
Right,
like things were
right.
just brutally different back then. Maybe they did hate each other. Like that was a
And I
different ball
think
game.
now with the city locations, that might develop it as from a
From
fan
yeah, I would say for the fans for
perspective.
sure. Because
Fan
and it's
perspective.
different too because it's not like in these guys off time they're playing eights with each other,
Right, exactly. They're
right?
always playing
You
with
don't
each other, so it's
have
hard to hate somebody.
you don't have the Lakers and the Celtics in their off time teaming with each other somehow
Yeah.
just playing pickup ball.
I mean, you definitely get people or rivalries that like they're not their favorite person, but they don't like they're not openly like super
Hateful.
toxic about
Yeah.
it. It's always in the game, you know what I mean? Like obviously in LAN, you know, you beat somebody, you get up and you're like, "Oh, you're trash,"
And
like
you
you
push
choke,
nade
you know, all
shot
that.
and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's nothing like that is like the last
you know
time
what
I can think
game
of something big like that.
esports wise, the game that does have that the most is Gears.
Like Gears, yep.
But
Gears,
it works for that environment. I would not
it
want it
does.
to change.
It really
Like that
does.
toxicity is what makes the Gears community.
I'm so glad OpTic picked up that Gears roster because I really
Dude,
got into Gears from that.
that is one of the most dominant teams in
It
esport
was
history
so fun to
across
watch, and
any esport.
yeah,
Dude,
to
how
this
many chips did
day
they
I go
win?
back. Too many, too many.
Like
They were so good.
too many.
Yeah, you still go back to this day and watch the Visions. Shout out to Hitch. Those Vision episodes are always so good.
Dude.
Just so cool the way he was able to edit the gameplay with the reactions, and oh my gosh, I loved the way that those guys
Yeah.
were like they would talk shit. It was so fun to watch.
Explosive, just
Explosive, and you know that's what we said, the fist fight where Icy gets his tooth knocked out and they go back and they beat that team.
like
Like
yeah.
storylines like that are
But like at the same
ridiculous.
like I want to remember who man, who was it I was on here? We basically said like the Gears of War is like the hockey of esports.
That's fair.
Like
That's
it's like if
100%.
a fight
Yeah,
breaks out, you just kind of let it happen,
right.
and
Let's
then
see
you're like,
how.
okay, back to the game.
Yep.
Like
Yes,
that's
that's
Gears,
good. That's a good one.
which I like it. Like I said, I wouldn't want that to change at all. I'm glad that there is an esports that has that.
Hmm.
Really anchors things to traditional sports.
It really does.
Dude, some of those guys are just crazy though. That shit's funny. Like,
I love it. I love it.
all
I
right,
go back and relive some of those moments after this.
right. I've been meaning to go back and rewatch all the Vision because
Yeah.
Vision started coming out when life started getting busy. So I only really watched the first season, and then it's like videos started getting longer because there were so many
Yeah.
teams involved. I
Mhm.
started getting less time.
Yeah.
Right now, even I don't watch a lot of content now because I'm so busy either editing videos for myself, doing the podcast. Like this has gotten viewer and listener wise, it's not really blown up, but scheduling wise, it has. Like I literally
Right.
have to schedule people and find times that work. And I
Right.
think after you, I still have 2 or 3 other people scheduled over the next week or so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is dope. Like I love it. Could not be happier. And it's only, in my opinion, a matter of time before listener
It
and
takes
viewer
off.
wise it starts to peak. And every guest helps because everyone's always like, "Yeah, go listen to the episode I was on," and
Right.
it
Right.
helps get more engagement, which is nice. All right, so let me ask you this. Have you ever, speaking of like environment and stuff and the vibes and all that, have you ever been to an event?
No, I've never been to an event. We were planning on going to the Minnesota and Chicago events last year. And
I was planning on going to the Huntsman opener. I
of
had
course,
everything booked.
yeah.
Got canceled.
Yep.
Spirit Airlines, actually, I still have flight credits with them. They didn't do a refund for me. They
Give you
just
some
gave
credit.
me some credits. Yeah. And I'm like,
we'll be back.
I think I'm gonna. Well, I have until the end of this year. They've extended it a few different times now, but currently I have until the end of this year to use it. I'm trying to move to Frisco, Texas, because not just because of OpTic, but also California is super expensive.
Texas seems to be the spot that's on the come up.
And yeah, Texas, not just that, but it's becoming like the Call of Duty esports hub.
Yep, exactly.
Which is nice. Like LA is a cool creative hub. New York is a cool creative and business hub. Texas is becoming like the esports hub, specifically in Call of Duty. And I think it'll just be a good opportunity to either network, meet more people, hang out. Like, it'll be a change of pace. So like I was born in Southern California. I live in Northern California. I've been all up and down this state. So it'll be nice to have other places to explore. And I'll be centrally located in the country, so I can go
either way.
Yeah, like it's hard to fly from California to like New York or something, or Florida.
Exactly.
It's a long
really
journey.
Being in Iowa,
but
it's not as busy here in Iowa, but it's like that middle, so you have that beach either way.
Well, and it's crazy to me too, because being in California my whole life, like I was talking to someone that was from like Pennsylvania, I think. And they're like, oh yeah, like it's like a 6-hour drive or something. And in my head, I'm like, a 6-hour drive just gets you like halfway down the state.
Right.
But on East Coast states, like a 6-hour drive gets you 2 states out. Like you cross borders in 6 to 8 hours. I'm like, bro, like that's actually weird because California is the third biggest state in the country?
Third biggest.
It's just, for me, it's an 8-hour drive just to get back home to Southern California.
Yeah.
And that's just normal. And yeah, someone was like, yeah, it's a long drive. It's like 4 hours. I'm like, bro, I take like a day trip that's 2 hours away. Yeah, it's weird. And Texas is going to be the same way. Texas is bigger than California.
Texas is huge, yeah.
So,
Texas is more like round, like not round.
But yeah, it's not as stretched out.
It's not long.
Yeah. And I think what's cool too with Frisco too, being it's like kind of in the middle of Texas. And I don't think it has as many issues with natural disaster as other areas. Obviously, flooding is a big issue on the southern areas of Texas. California, we just get earthquakes and wildfires. It's weird to me to think, like, some people don't like earthquakes. Like, I've met people that are like, oh, I don't know. Like, earthquake just happened. I'm like, that. Yeah, okay. It's like,
what does that feel like?
It's another Tuesday.
I've always wanted to know.
Earthquake?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, if it's like some people are pretty sensitive to it, I feel like.
Right.
Like, they'll feel small scale ones. They'll be like, oh, did you feel that? I think that we just had an earthquake.
Right.
I've only probably felt a couple of earthquakes, and they were like bigger ones. Yeah. I don't know, just like everything's just kind of shaking. Like, I'm trying to think. Have you ever done any water sports, like skateboarding or?
No, not really.
I feel like it'd be similar to one of them somehow. I don't know. It's
everybody just kind of goes on, just kind of casual.
Yeah, like it's just like another earthquake. But it's like those memes. It's like the memes you see about like people in the Midwest with tornadoes. Like,
oh yeah, that's what's up.
Smell the clouds. It's gonna be a tornado.
Yep, that is 100%.
Like, can you wait? So, do you guys actually get tornadoes like frequently? Is it like that? Or
thunderstorms. So, this is what it is.
Like, can you just like get like a spidey sense or some shit?
Like that day, you can tell. You check the weather. And you're like, it's supposed to be a hot, humid day. Some storms are supposed to blow in later in the afternoon. That's tornado time. When the winds hit a certain speed, the sirens go off. When the sirens go off, you know what I do?
Nothing.
Whatever I'm doing. If the house
to me, that's wild because I have family in Missouri, and like 10 years ago, they had the tornado that took out Joplin, Missouri, wiped that town off the face of the map. So to me, I feel like if I was there and I heard the sirens go off, I'd be like running for cover.
I mean, go inside, depending. Like it's just weird. It's
like
weird.
You just cruise through it. You're just like, there's another tornado.
If you're out driving, you're outside, you kind of gotta, be a little aware. But if I'm in my room upstairs, and I hear the sirens, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And my dad used to always say, just do what you're doing. If the house starts shaking, though, go downstairs into the basement, because then you actually have a problem. Because
Yeah.
the sirens go off as like a warning, like a
Yeah.
tornado could happen. Tornadoes happen, they'll touch down, but they're normally like the big ones, those are rare. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just something, like I'd imagine with the earthquake, it's just something kind of you get used to, and
Yeah.
you're like, you hope it's not the
Well, and
severe you hear
I
about.
think tornadoes are more severe more often.
Yeah,
Like I'm sure you probably get a lot of like really minor ones, but
yeah.
I feel like the big bad ones happen more often than big bad earthquakes. Like the last
I'd
big
say,
bad earthquake I could think of in California was I think 1989. San Francisco got destroyed. Like that's
well,
the one that's like in history books and like that's the big one.
well,
Wildfires on the other hand,
yeah,
pretty much every year our entire state just burns.
right.
It's been bad for the last like 5 years.
That's from
Paradise, California.
hmm
Paradise,
and
California
that's not
does not
natural. That's
exist anymore.
being idiots or what?
Um, a lot of them lately have been. I mean, it's hard to say. So, like, some of them are caused by people just being stupid.
Yeah,
We
like,
had
I just
one
see on
that
the internet.
was there was one that was supposedly caused by like a gender reveal
Yep.
party.
See, I just see the internet, and so I
Yeah,
don't
like a
know
lot of
what
that stuff is, as far as I know,
that's
kind of true. And then there's the whole PG&E thing. I don't know if you've heard about that.
nope.
Basically, PG&E is like our main electric company,
Oh, okay.
and
Interesting.
there's like a lot of links to them not properly maintaining their lines and stuff.
That's messed up.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure going bankrupt or something, or being
Good.
split into different companies because I think it's propane gas and electric is what it stands for.
Oh, yeah, that
And
makes
yeah, like that's been a big lawsuit issue for the last few years. Like I said, Paradise, California, which is only a few hours away from me, does not exist anymore. Like
dang.
burned off the face of the map.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually so while we're on this natural disaster, this last summer, it was August, we had the worst storm that's ever hit, the Midwest. It
Okay.
was called the derecho. It was an inland hurricane. And so normally with these storms, like I said, you hear about like a severe thunderstorm and you're like, okay, let's be a little careful. It's going to be
All right. It's
windy.
gonna be worse than normal. Whatever.
It's going to be, yeah, exactly. It's just, it's whatever. But with this one, it was an inland hurricane. And normally you'll get those 75, 80, maybe even 100-mile-per-hour winds that'll last 15 or so seconds. This one lasted for 15 minutes
Oh
of just
damn.
straight line winds. So we're inside and we go outside after it all settles down, and there's just the trees are just destroyed
Gone
throughout
and
the entire city. Power was out. So I think for like I think it was close to 3 weeks for the entire city to get power back.
damn.
We didn't have it for a week where I live, but I know there were some outer parts that didn't get it back for like
So
and
speaking on power outages with the whole PG&E thing, PG&E's solution has been all right. Under certain conditions, typically if it gets windy enough, we're just gonna turn off power for a lot of people.
I don't know if that's it.
I'm like,
I don't
that's
think that's the
or
solution.
you could go out and maintain your lines.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
work at
I was
Costco. We've sold a shitload of generators in the last few
I
years.
bet. I bet. Well, yeah, that storm happened, and the generators were off the shelves, gasoline off the shelves. Gas stations didn't work. I mean, like nothing,
Damn,
nothing worked.
dude.
It was
So
ridiculous.
during the car fire, which I think was in 2017, maybe 2018, that was one of our bad ones. Like that one's pretty brutal. Let me actually real quick. Let me. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna look up like how many acres it burned. So the car fire burned almost 230,000 acres. And that one started from vehicle issue or like something. 300,000 acres.
It's just so crazy.
Yeah. Oh damn! It actually has the cost on here too. Cost $1.6 billion. Estimated
Yeah,
like
and
damages.
here
Damn.
in the Midwest, Iowa, we have a lot of farms, so a lot
Yeah.
of crops were destroyed, and it's August, and harvest is, late October, November, and so that's mid-season of
Damn.
corn, majority what you get out here. And you get out of the city, and it's literally all cornfields, and you go out, or bean fields or whatever, and it's normally straight up, and it's all just, and that's just
Slanted and
chalked.
just, yeah.
It's
Is that
just
just damn it?
destroyed.
Like you can't use that?
So, I don't really remember the numbers,
Yeah,
but I
that's why it's
remember,
like 15 minutes.
yeah, 15
Just
minutes of straight 75
see, that's what's
plus.
weird is like, so in your 22 years, how many like bad tornadoes have there been near you?
Near me, bad tornadoes, like 0.
Okay.
0 have actually hit like where I
All right.
live.
Well, let's just say
You know,
like in Iowa, and like
oh,
of those, like how long does a bad one last?
so the thing is, they like if you like the worst tornadoes can maybe last, like 7, like under 10 minutes probably.
That's
But
crazy.
I've had some
Because
that
like
have touched.
like the fires,
They
weeks.
last yeah, weeks, days.
Yeah.
hmm But the thing about like none of the tornadoes really hit in the city. Some can hit in towns, but like around me in my lifetime, never. They've
It's
just
usually
been
like on the
out in the
outskirts and
country,
stuff. Yeah.
and they don't even last that long.
That's weird to think about
Like
too, is like I saw like a topographical map of the country and it just somehow like I've like it's always the information has always been there, but it's never quite dawned on me like how flat a lot of the Midwest actually is.
so
Because like I've
so
been in
flat.
California my whole life, so it's like we just have a lot of mountains and like it was
hmm
funny, like the topographical map from east to west was basically like flat, 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 big old every like as soon as you get to like Colorado, Nevada, and like the
Yeah.
last couple of states pushing the west, it was like all mountains and shit.
hmm Yeah, you get out of the town and city, and you can see forever. It seems.
Yeah. Someone tweeted they were like, so let me get this straight. Like you just step outside and you just see the whole state.
Yep. That is it. It's
And I
so
was
funny.
like I think that comment is what made it click. I was like, damn, like I mean, you know that it's flatlands out there. You know it's a lot of plains and farms, but like that put it into perspective what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
Like you look out and it's like looking out onto the ocean. It just goes
It,
and
it
goes
just
and
goes. It just goes. It's kind of
like
crazy. Like
where
there's
I
obvious.
live, especially going down I-5, which is the main interstate on the West Coast.
Yeah.
You look to the coastline and it's like you see for a long time, but then a mountain cuts you off.
hmm
There's like the Golden Hills or whatever. All right, let's bring this back around. So event wise, you said you never been to one. Is there an event in your head that like stands out as like the event you would want to have been at?
Anaheim, obviously.
Ooh,
That
which
is always
any
the
particular
big one.
year?
Just every year, it's always that's
Okay,
the all the content. It's out in Cali, so
good.
obviously everybody's trying to go to that one. So
Yeah,
I feel like that would have been the one to go
I
to.
feel like Anaheim's
As
got different vibes than everyone else.
yeah, that's like
Yeah,
it's midsummer. It's just
yeah. I think
I mean,
it's
at least
the weather. Like you're in Southern California, the weather's it's literally world known for having great weather.
hmm
Um, and then on top of that, like it's at the Anaheim Convention Center, which if anyone's listening, if you've never been in that area, that's a 10-minute walk to Disneyland away.
right.
Uh,
It just always seemed like the perfect event
yeah,
for
it's got.
just to be at.
I've been to 3 events, Anaheim twice and Champs 2019.
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of different, I think, because I grew up in Southern California. But
hmm
like, it's nice because I kind of get to visit home. I got a lot of family down there. I stay with my aunt. She's like 15 minutes away from the convention center. But at the same time, like, it just has different vibes. The vibes are the if you watch Team Summertime at all, like those vibes, that's
Times
it.
that's the whole event.
Yeah, it's the whole event. It's
um
dope. That's a good answer. Most people say 2017 Champs.
27. Oh, if I could pick one from history to go to,
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel
I
like
mean
that's like the
probably that
gimme
one. I
answer.
feel like that's a gimme answer, but
Yeah.
so I'll switch it up, and I'd say the what was it? The X Games.
Okay.
The first one,
Yeah.
X Games.
Somebody else said that. They said I think it was because that was like the first event that they watched.
Oh, yeah. See, that was the first event that they had like, won in a while.
It was the first one they had won in a while. That was during Ghosts, so that was
I really like that roster.
Proofy.
Proof,
Bro, I love Proofy. I
Yeah.
love Proofy. Like he's probably one of my favorite pros of all time. He just has good vibes.
Yeah, and I like the way
the
that event,
the ace, bro.
Yep.
Sovereign S&D.
That's one of the craziest, best moments.
Nasty.
One of the best.
Yeah.
I have to get into the best moments, huh?
Yes, I do touch on that. We can actually go into that right now. Actually, before we get into no, we'll just mix it up. I don't really do this like in order too much. The only thing I do in order is the intro question. So all right, I asked everyone, what are your top 3 favorite moments in OpTic history? And it doesn't have to be event based. It could be something from content or from vision or literally anything in OpTic history. What are your top 3 favorite moments?
Okay, number 1, this is no order. Number 1 is going to be that X Games win.
Okay.
That X Games win, it just meant so much. The way they beat EG in the semifinals, it was just, it was like they'd been trying to get over that hump for so long, and they did it, and it was just so satisfying to watch those guys. It meant so much to that squad.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about that. In the final, he gets a kill with a shotgun. You competitive players now, think about it. They used shotguns back then.
The bullfrog. You competitive players now, just go watch yourself. Do yourself a favor. Go type in Black Ops 2 MLG hijacked hardpoint.
Yep,
you're gonna get to that bottom hill, and you're gonna see 8 players with Remington shotguns.
Oh my goodness! Think about scrimming that. You guys are mad about an M4 killing you in 4 bullets,
right? Bro, the Remington on that hill. Oh my! Parasites run. Game over.
I'm rotating early.
Sorry, that's chalked. Give him 80 seconds on that hill.
All right, number 2. I'm gonna pair some together here, because not only the 2017 COD champs win, but the fact that they three-peated, but they won Halo Worlds, Gears Worlds, and COD Worlds, and who'd they beat in all 3? They beat Envy in all 3. That 3 championship run is that's probably my number 1, because that was the.
That's fair enough. I'll give you the pairing of it, because I feel like that really takes it from here to here.
It's that rivalry. It's always been that rivalry, and you get them in all 3. It was so satisfying.
Yeah,
it was so satisfying. And then number 3, to this day, I'm gonna have to say Envoys 1v1 against TJ.
Okay. That's one I've been hearing a little bit more recently.
Because it means so much now.
It means so much now, and it's weird because whenever I do this sort of stuff, I get really nostalgic with it. But like it's new, but like it's like Dashy's 5-piece. That's a newer clip, but that's worthy of being in anybody's top 3 to top 5 moments.
That game, from a competitive standpoint, I really enjoyed playing it, but I understood how just
what do you like? What do you like more, Modern Warfare or Cold War for competitive?
Cold War, 100%. Not only because it's 4v4, I just didn't like. I just feel like there was some fundamental things they missed.
For me, squad spawning screwed everything up.
Squad spawning was just whack. It just threw so much off.
Let me ask. Okay, so game mode wise, what are your top 3? What's your favorite? Obviously, Search and Destroy is like the GOAT. Like that's a staple. That's not going anywhere. Hardpoint, pretty much a staple. But when it comes to that third mode, what's your favorite one that we've had?
To watch, definitely Uplink. I think that's kind of a brainer.
Uplink is probably the most fun game mode to watch. Like Uplink as a whole, more fun to watch than S&D. S&D round 11s, 1v1s. Like you get those certain situations.
Too much. So much complexity of S&D.
You get those certain situations that are more fun to watch, but like Uplink is fucking fun, dude.
Uplink, it just changed the whole dynamic of that swing game mode to where, capture the flag, it's kind of more, 1-2 game.
Yeah.
You get an uplink, you get those high scoring games, and
Yeah.
that's more fun to watch.
What about to play?
To play in this game, I really like Control. I like the way they've done it. I like the recent change where overtime goes based on ticks captured, points captured. I think that it's really balanced. I personally, me and my teammates / friends have been kind of debating whether capture the flag would play well in this game.
I think it would.
I think it would play fine.
I'll give you my answer. CTF is my favorite third game mode of all time.
Yeah.
That being said, Uplink is a close competitor. Uplink, Blitz, and CTF are really similar game modes, though.
Blitz was fun.
Blitz.
I remember
Blitz wasn't bad. It was different. It was basically CTF, but like,
yeah, it was fun to play.
I personally despise Control.
Yeah.
I think it's too. It's not that it's too easy. It just like it gets one-sided really easily.
It does get one-sided. But I think if you have like I think now as the game goes on, you'll offenses will learn a little more, and I think we'll get to see some more strats that if you watch the game, you obviously learn a lot from it. Like that's why I watched so much. I learned so much stuff. You learn different strats, different ways to hit points as a team, and it's nice to kind of develop as the year goes to see how you learn and I'd say improve.
Yeah.
I do think that capture the flag it's got that old school kind of vibe to it.
I think it's a FPS staple too because it was big in Halo as well.
That's exactly.
But I do think CTF would actually play really well in Cold War. I think the pacing of Cold War, it would work really well. Its biggest issue is
stalemate.
Yeah. Like it can slow down.
That's the one for me. That's the tiebreaker there.
Yeah.
It just gets stalemate in the last
But for me, like I look at like when they first came out with Control, I literally just called it Team Deathmatch.
TDM.
Yeah, it was TDM. In Black Ops 4, it was just TDM. And I mean, for the most part, it is. Like, yeah, you get some close moments, but like, it gets one-sided pretty quick. I'm curious. I know Adam Apicella and I were tweeting back and forth like a month or two ago, and he was like, we should just use Hardpoint and S&D. Just 2 modes.
Yeah.
I think that'd work if we had enough maps. And if the maps, instead of a best of 5, if it was like a best of 17 or something.
Right.
Because you would have to get those chances.
Right.
Like that's why CSGO, I think, is allowed to use such a small map pool. Is because they last so long.
Right. I think...
I just don't know what a good... Like if I were developing a third game mode, a third respawn mode, that swing mode, I don't know what it would be. Control's not it. I love CTF, but I know its flaws as well. One thing I really miss stopwatch CTF for overtime.
Stopwatch CTF.
The overtime, I like the concept of it.
Yeah.
Like
I think that overtime,
it put the pressure on you to you wanted to get work done fast, but like if you get work done fast, you probably make more mistakes. So
yeah, I'm gonna change my answer. I think capture the flag, if it's done right, would probably be the best.
I think the hardest part is figuring out what done right looks like. Like, because you would have to find some way to make it not get stalemate-y.
No, it's not domination.
It sure as hell ain't domination.
That's another thing that...
And honestly, Blitz does help CTF not be stalemate-y.
It does.
A little bit. But the spawn, I think it was just the maps and ghosts didn't let it work that well because like Octane, you would get really bad spawn trap issues.
Yeah, I remember some maps back from like 8s or scrims where we had like 20-0 teams. It was just brutal.
Like you just get the right setup and like you get the right power positions with the right people, and you can just fly through.
Oh yeah. And you literally stack up 3 of your guys are just killing. One guy's running. He captures the point.
And you just rotate.
Like even that, as soon as he gets back to it, it's the 10 seconds he's already through.
Yeah.
Like it was just ridiculous.
He's just running around with a knife the whole time.
He's just sprinting. I'm just running simulator.
Yeah. All right, let's see. My top 3 favorite moments. They change pretty much every episode. It started out as, okay, here's my top 3, and then I changed them in episode 2, and then I went, you know what? This is just going to be an easy way to look back at some cool stuff throughout the years. We're going to mix things up because I think in the last few episodes I've named a lot of the same moments. I've named like Dashy's 5-piece and whatnot, but we're going to mix it up. We're going to go with OpTic Predator's Fusion montage.
That is a classic.
The Predator montage edited by Fusion.
I'm actually gonna type that in so I can watch it just for nostalgia.
So we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna go real nostalgia. We're gonna go with D-Treats, either a sub bass free for all or run down free for all. One of those two. I've got both of those in my head. Those are both great videos. And then let's go with, I think I named this one a few episodes ago, but to make things a little bit less nostalgic, not going as far back, we're going to go with Big Timer's Shot Around the World. Nay, we'll go with the Humpty Dance.
The Humpty Dance.
The Humpty Dance with Nate Sean Scump. Yes. All right, we're going to start mixing things up. I've named a lot at this point of different ones. Proofies, X Games, Scump's 3-piece on Aftermath SND, Dashy's 5-piece obviously is for me. Dashy's 5-piece is definitely one of my favorites because the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
The crowd hype.
So,
yeah.
Not even just for OpTic, for everything.
The environment. Like
you just get Maven and Merc casting with a good crowd, and it's done.
Maven and Jack, Benson and Golden Boy, Fwiz and Puckett.
Just Jack's just. I always get sad when I think about Jack not casting anymore.
Dude, when he announced when he came back for CWL Champs 2019 and announced like the pre-announcement for the match. Obviously, he didn't cast it, but like, yeah, I actually met him right after that, or before that. No, right after that. Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting. I thought he was just there to like hang out. I had seen him a few times like that day, and then he like went up on stage and was like, "Ladies and gentlemen."
It
all comes down to this.
Amazing talent when it comes to casting.
He's got the voice for it.
He just
TP
catches
too. TP maybe not the casting voice, but TP has like that voice, the radio voice.
That's the one thing. Yeah, TP's voice. Oh, iconic. That's the one thing I loved Maven and Jack as a pair, but I feel like if you get that tactical mind paired with that hype, that's why I think
Maven and Merc yeah.
So
together. I've thought about this a lot, like moving forward. Traditional sports obviously have it at this point. They've been around for so long, but Merc is really the only caster bringing that to the table. Like
Chance does good.
You got Chance. I think he does good too, but not
Mervin.
Merc just really. It could be the dynamic of him and Maven.
As well.
But yeah, and like Study, former player, but like something about his casting is just not.
Yeah.
Not quite it.
Experience will help that because Merc's been doing it for a while.
But it's interesting to think like a few years down the road as more of these players retire and stuff. Like, what if Clayster could be a good announcer? We don't know. Aches. I'd be interested to hear Aches on the desk or Aches as a caster.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be interesting as more players retire and move into more analyst roles and stay within the league and stuff. Like you see with, SportsCenter and ESPN and all these traditional sports channels.
Also, I can't wait for the LAN events to come back because I heard Zuma might have something with his Flank podcast involved there.
I do, dude. Zuma's another player. I really like the guy. Yeah. And I think I really started liking him when he yelled at the e-girls.
Oh my gosh, that clip! Me and my friends like will randomly just post that in our group chat, and
Dude,
it's every time it hits, we just die laughing
dude,
because
it is
it's so good.
that's a if this
That's
wasn't an OpTic show, I'd put that as a top 3 like
it have
Zuma
to be.
moment.
It have to be.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. All right. So while we're on the topic of favorites and whatnot, who is your favorite current member of OpTic and your favorite all-time member of OpTic? And it can be anybody, pro player, behind the scenes guy. The only person that's off limits is Hex.
Okay, good. Because we gotta. It's the same answer for both, and it's the King
Scumpy?
Scump.
Okay.
Scumpy.
Fair enough.
Only player's like jersey that I have that has his name on it. The only one.
I don't have a jersey with a player name on it.
I have his Huntsman jersey from
Nice.
last year. I was debating getting all 4 this year, and I was like, no. Bank account, no.
Yeah.
I wanted to, but I just got one.
My
of
shit
each.
don't look pretty because of that.
Yeah,
all right. If you had to pick a
myself.
second player, just out of curiosity, or second member.
Second member, probably Matt Formal.
Okay.
It's just that
dude, especially this year, content wise, bro. We just found out that he's the funniest dude.
Funny. He is so, and it's
insert formal lip bite.
Normal. Like what they said, it's just how he is normally. And I love how they get, and I hate that they do it, but I love the YouTube accounts that will take like just their random stream and they'll just make compilations of them just trolling because it's not their content. It's still them,
I don't
it's
like
fun
that
to watch.
other people are getting massive views off of other people's content.
I don't like them.
But yeah, agreed. Dude, you know what's actually some of my favorite shit that's become pretty big over the last like year or two is like the out of context Twitter accounts.
Oh yes,
dude. There's a handful of those. TST out of context.
The context is hilarious.
Good. Dude, there's a few people that do it really well. What's the Texas formal account?
Yeah, Texas formal or like the there's an Octane's burner. There's so many of them.
Dude, there's a lot that have come out and they are funny as hell. Dude, remember back in the day when Roster Mania was insane and like remember the whole burner thing for like a solid 3 years, 4 years?
I still don't know who it was. Who was it? Do we know?
Dude, nobody knows. Todd Burner. How long was that? That was at least 3 years, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the end of the jetpack era into like Black Ops 4, if I'm correct.
I think it was before that.
Probably before that.
I think it was like mid jetpack era. I want to say Black Ops 3.
Into Black Ops 4.
Like
he was
bro, the COD burner. Ooh,
yeah.
I miss old Roster Mania. I'm not gonna lie. The downside of making everything professional and going with the league is you take away from Roster Mania, which has always been such a big staple in Call of Duty. It's been its own content piece. I remember watching Kingdom Soldier the Sticks live. Like I'm pretty sure he coined the term Roster Mania.
Roster Mania videos.
That's actually when I got introduced to Hitch. Was through the Sticks live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, and that's another thing that I think they don't do a very good job of now is the league needs to make it so that I feel like if you have your roster, and this is what Formal and them said on their on one of the podcasts, the OpTic podcast, you need to have your roster set. You can have subs that you can switch in and out during the stage. You know what I mean? For the entire stage, I feel like. That's what happened last stage with Minnesota. They went from being 06th in maps and the first 2 series, and they pick up a player that's not on their roster. I think if he's in your sub spot, that's fine. You can switch, that's fair.
You can trade.
Find a new player and then went and won their group. And I just think, I feel like you should have a set roster for your stage, not necessarily just the 4 players, but your sub spots as well.
Your subs should also be set.
But you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be able to sign anybody else.
I'm curious, like
Roster Mania period.
So one thing that I'm worried about with the league is them looking at traditional sports that have already built leagues and taking all of it and being like, well, this is how it has to be done because the NFL did it and the NBA did it and the NHL did it. It's like, no, you guys are different. You guys are forming your own league. You guys can look at that and you can take some things that are pretty proven to work, but also I think that they need to leave some stuff untouched. And the other thing I miss, by the way, when it comes to the league, right? I miss roster mania. I miss open events.
Open events.
I've been to Anaheim twice. That is like the open event of the year.
Yeah. Open events going into the top bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those open teams.
The open teams coming up, steamrolling through, grinding through the open bracket and making their way into the top 16 into bracket play.
It made COD, different.
And it also speaks to, amateur players. Like, if you really are that good and if you really do grind, show up to them an open event, prove yourself, and like people are watching. Challengers this year has been a little bit better because you've seen some people come up, but last year it was a wash.
Yeah,
the way the challengers, and I hope that they figure it out, and I think they will. I think they've got a good squad of people making these decisions.
Yeah.
You've already seen a lot of improvement between last year and this year when it comes to the league.
Yeah. Actually, that is actually crazy because me and my friends we've been this debate has come up a lot. Do you think that the college scene will become that stepping stone into the league in the future?
I don't think so, and I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I've always been pretty against going to college just because I don't think it's necessary.
Right.
For a lot of things, and it's proven. There's plenty of people that have done basically whatever they want and never went to college. Yeah. And I would hate to see Call of Duty, something that's already, it's already an online format. Like, we've already broken past the barrier of you have to be in the same location as people to play together. Right? It's online. It's an online thing. Sure, you have LAN, but a lot of finding teammates and finding people to play with, it's online. And I would hate to see, like, all of a sudden, in order to get into the pro league, challengers is limited to college students.
Right.
Because then what happens, how does that look like when you have a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron that's trying to go from high school to the pros?
Right. Like, that's where my argument was kind of coming from. It's just something that we've just kind of, maybe it could happen.
Yeah. That's one of the things where I hope they realize that they can do something different than traditional sports.
I don't mind college scene getting better players that go pro, but I don't think it should be that main stepping stone. I think it could be a way, but not the main way. I think the challengers.
I'm all for colleges continuing to push the esports programs.
Yeah,
but I think I think the pro league should continue to look at pretty much everybody.
Right. And I mean, think about it, 18's the age limit, right? College, you're over 18, so you might as well, if you're good enough.
Yeah. That's also an interesting thing with esports is the age limits, right? Because like Booga and Fortnite
is younger.
Like it's weird to look at. Yeah. And it's like anybody, obviously you're not going to have a 14-year-old playing in the NFL.
Is it the ratedness of like whatever the game's rated?
I don't know. It's got to be.
I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Playing an M-rated game, you can't be 15 playing it professionally.
Yeah. But like with parental consent, like I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's weird.
There's some weird lines there.
Yeah. All right. So we went over top 3 favorite moments. We went over your favorite players. If you could meet one person within OpTic, who would it be? And does your answer change if you go from just meeting them to actually being able to hang out with them for a day?
Ooh. So let's see. I think I'd love to meet Scump.
Okay.
But I'm gonna switch it for the hanging out. I'd want to hang out with Hitch because he really likes soccer. Okay. I feel like that's something you could do. and then
isn't George supposed to be pretty nasty at soccer? At least he was.
I know the three of them.
I imagine all three of them would probably be pretty.
If they were all there, oh, I'd have a blast. That'd be the best.
See, that's how when I think of hanging out with them, I'm like, if I name anyone in TST, I feel like it's got to be all three of them.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, they're a group, little pair there, little triplet. But and thinking about it that way is, Scump, he's got, professional stuff to deal with, like whether it be team, like they got scrims and stuff like that. I feel like you just do more with somebody that's not necessarily on the team.
Yeah,
it'd be really nice to meet them, but I'd feel like I don't want to. You got stuff to do, you got stuff to work on.
Yeah,
you got scrims.
See, I started adding that second part of the question because I've met some of the people at events, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, I've met Hex. So like, do I want to meet him? I've done that. Big T, I haven't met, and he is, oh, by the way, favorite member of all time for me, Big Timer. Or favorite current member, Big Timer. Favorite all time is Karma and D Treats. If I had to pick, I would go D Treats. He's my favorite sniper of all time. Best to ever done do it. Sorry, Hector. But Big Timer I have not met, so I would want to meet him. But I think hanging out with him for a day, like he's kind of a homebody. He sits at his computer trading stocks for the first 6 hours of the day. Like, it wouldn't be that fun.
What are you gonna do?
So I started adding that second part of the question because Hex, on the other hand, bumps into my number one spot probably for someone I'd want to hang out with. Like, he's got his dogs. My girlfriend loves dogs. We have 2 dogs. Like, grew up in Southern California, Mexican food. I want some of his arrachera. Like,
I'm trying to get some of those tacos.
I'm trying to snack. Yeah, like, he does art. My girlfriend does art. She painted the painting behind me. Like, I think that would just be a super fun day. And then if it wasn't Hex, it'd probably be like Blake and TST.
Right.
So yeah, I started adding the second part of the question.
That's a good.
Do you have a favorite content series that OpTic has done over the years?
I was really into the brisk mate. What was it?
Smooth comp.
What was it called? Smooth comp. Those were really good.
Good. Cheers for hearing something that's not just vision.
That was an obvious answer.
That's
I didn't want to
gimme.
That.
Yeah.
Hitch's vision. Rogers are great and all that stuff, but Hitch's vision were different.
Yeah. I think the process has the potential of.
Yeah.
One thing I do like about the process, actually, now that you specified Hitch's vision versus Rogers, I actually really like that Roger is getting his own.
Yeah, exactly.
The process. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, that's going to be Roger's show.
Exactly. And that he does
I've never thought about really it like that before.
But yeah, smooth comp probably.
Okay.
It just had a vibe to it, and it was almost like a kind of like a not really gym class, you know what I mean?
Almost like a little kid birthday party vibe.
Vibe to it where they would, and it's not, they're not playing games. It's like they're actually doing physical activities that you don't see them doing. I see them play video games.
I can't believe, I want to know how much it costs them to like constantly be renting out like the blow up stuff, like the obstacle courses and stuff.
Yeah. I think what they do after.
What was the one with the big blow up soccer thing or whatever, like the.
Yeah, so you watching those like was it like small or something like that?
Yeah. So those were always fun.
And then once they transitioned into like the corporate and they did the battle royale or whatever, it kind of just like lost that touch.
Got a little weird.
Me. I watched them all. It was fun to watch, but it just wasn't the same. And you could tell they didn't have as much fun doing it.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it going corporate is it started to take like the creative fun out of it. For me, it's going to be Hunting OpTic. That's probably one of my favorites of all time. You've also heard Mexicandy as one of the answers someone gave.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
I'll try to mix things up. I mean, Hunting OpTic is always going to be a big one for me.
I didn't even think about it.
Well, since I've done a lot of nostalgic stuff on this episode, I'm going to throw it back to Sniper's Nest. Top 5 kill cams of the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be on that.
We'll keep it real nostalgic.
I want a clip that I could submit for those.
What's your best clip in your opinion?
My best clip. I think I have one Modern Warfare 2 intervention 6 on.
Okay.
One. It's
Nice.
actually it's actually really similar. I don't know if you know the Pomage has a clip on Rundown. Rundown. I don't remember the map. No,
Rundown
not
had
Rundown.
3 bridges
Yeah,
with a
Rundown. It was
trench in
on the
between. Yeah.
yeah, it was the same spot Pomage hit one.
That's dope.
On that far that the smaller bridge, not like the two big ones. It was like the little bridge.
Yeah.
I actually back in the Modern Warfare 2 days, I would go for the nukes. I would always do the nukes.
Yep. I was,
Like
and I didn't care how I got them. All right. I'd be sitting at the back of the map with one man army and a noob tube sometimes.
me and my friends did a challenge where we would do a nuke with every gun and a nuke on
Damn.
every map, and we got those done. I
So
remember
yeah, Modern Warfare 2, I didn't get a ton of nukes. Modern Warfare 3, I think I have 5 or 6 Moabs on Carbon, and I actually hated that map. I did not like it, but for some reason I could always drop a Moab on it.
right, we're gonna get the nerdiness of me. I'm gonna look it up. I have it in my notes.
All right.
Is that
So while you're doing that, probably my favorite clip I've ever hit, I have one C4 shot on a Modern
see
Warfare 3. Yeah, and it was with the RSASS, the semi-automatic.
this?
Yep.
That's hard.
That clip is, and it was on, I want to say the map was called Village. I'm pretty sure Village was the name of the map. That's actually on a montage. That's on YouTube on an older channel.
I wish I had like any of
Try
my
it.
old.
So my first video on YouTube is 11 years old.
Oh my
I've been
goodness.
doing content off and on for a long time, and I hate thinking about it because if I would have just picked a brand and stuck with it, I'd
Right.
probably be a little bigger than I am now, but that's okay. Stryac gave me the great idea because we were talking and I said, yeah, I've got some old channels, some old videos, but it's going to be a while before I release those to the public. And then he was
Yeah.
like, do a reaction video. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea.
Oh, that's actually lit.
So, yeah.
I didn't start like recording or keeping clips until what? The end of like World War II.
Damn.
So I have a whole year's worth of Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare, and then Cold War clips that I've been trying to find people to help edit and maybe make a year montage, and
Mm-hmm.
I can have 2 decent montages and then obviously one after this year. And it's a whole compilation of either, I do play a lot of public search and destroy with my friends when I don't want
Okay.
to be
When you're not trying
grinding.
to sweat. And
Yeah, so we'll just go in there and we'll just hit like 4 pieces with the sniper on whoever is unfortunately on the other team. But so I looked it up, and I was the nerd that used to have in my PS3 bio how many nukes I had. And
nice.
to this day,
I mean, I'm a nerd. My Twitter bio has some shit like that.
313 nukes
Damn.
too. It could be
Damn. So
off.
here's my nerdy stats. All right. I'll give you three. Three of my nerdy stats. In Modern Warfare 3, granted I was playing pubs at the time, right? Like I wasn't into comp quite yet. Modern Warfare 3, in the domination leaderboards on Xbox, I got to rank 1028, so almost top 1000 in the public leaderboards. Yeah, and dude, those leaderboards went deep too. Like
popular game mode.
Yeah. So
Call of Duty, one of its peaks.
yeah.
There.
Other nerdy stat, also Modern Warfare 3, and this was all because of domination. But remember accolades, right? Mm-hmm. The accolade for most C4 kills in a game, I was top 100 on the public leaderboards because I would put attack insert by B flag on Dom. Every time I'd spawn, just whoop. And like you'd be getting double, triple, quad kill, just yeah. And then my number one, I'm gonna throw 2 more on there. Before we hit the number one, remember the war game mode from World War II? Played a lot of that. Did not enjoy World War II, but I did like war. I don't know what my highest skill gameplay in it is, but my buddy and I made a bet of who could hit 100 kills in a single side of war before he flipped sides.
Right.
I don't remember what the number I hit, but I got over 100 in a single side.
That's crazy.
My number one Rust, Team Tactical, Demolition, Modern Warfare 2. 200 kills, 23 deaths.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure, at least when it comes to Team Tactical, that's a world record kill number. In Modern Warfare 2.
That's probably, yeah.
I've seen gameplay with higher kills, but it was like part of the recording has like wall hacks on it.
Yeah.
And shit. So yeah, 200 kills is my highest kill gameplay.
That's insane. So many kills. My God, I just completely blanked on what I was gonna say. That's actually insane.
Yeah, I'm over here thinking freaking 300 nukes. Like,
and hey, and that's not even. We only brought out new tubes when they were brought out first. We were very respectable about it.
See, that's. I mean, I wasn't not on noob tubes, but on a lot of things, I'm like that.
You know, Deathly I Am is.
Sounds familiar.
He did Modern Warfare 2. He did the same thing that we were doing. We were copying him. He would do nuke streams where he'd go for 2 nukes in a game, and so we were doing a nuke on every map, nuke with every gun, 2 nukes in a game.
Are you telling me you got a nuke? Wait, does secondaries count as every gun?
Yes.
You telling me you got nukes with like PP2000s and TMPs?
Yep. You think that's the hard one? We're talking about the riot shield. Want to know what one took us forever? Was the riot shield.
You got a nuke with a riot shield?
We balanced it by allowing a throwing knife.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
But
that's still damn near impossible.
I got that one when I got it in 8th grade or 9th grade.
Damn.
And this is like 2 years after Modern Warfare 2 had been, it was like that was like
Black Ops 2. So you said you're 22, right?
22.
I'm 25.
So Modern Warfare 2 was
Modern Warfare 2 was like 6th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade?
6th grade. Yeah. So I got it in 8th grade. And it was actually crazy because my soccer teammates, these are the guys that I was doing it with, and we had a tournament this weekend, and they came over Friday night, and we were just taking turns on my account, just playing. Playing. Because my mom was driving us to the tournament the next day.
Yeah.
And I got it with those 2 guys, like
that's
sitting
dope.
Right behind
me. Dude, that I miss. That's like one thing I think about is like kids these days are never gonna experience like that.
Like 2 a.m.
Like they're coming over to your buddy's house and like playing split screen or swapping controllers. Like, oh, it's your turn now. Like kids these, and that is.
I have 3 monitors.
Yeah,
I'm in 5th grade.
Yeah, right. Like, man, because those are some good times. I wasn't a big Halo kid, but one of my buddies growing up was. In his birthday party every year, we go over to his house, stay up all night. His mom would be bringing energy drinks, soda, pizza, and like we'd be playing Halo split screen against each other and stuff. Like, and we'd set up one Xbox in the living room and one in his room. Like it was straight up LAN party.
Oh yeah,
good times, good old days.
So we transitioned from once we did get all our setups and we got more into the league play team vibe. We would set up a 3 to 4 person LAN and we'd play, league play scrims, stuff like that together.
That's dope.
And we still sometimes do that today, to this day.
I dig it. I would hate to do that now because
it's hard to PC now. It's hard to move it.
Well, I'm really anal on cable management, and it would be I would have to buy all extra cables. Yeah, it's honestly what I would do. I would just buy spare cables.
Yeah, I mean, I think those days might be coming to it. It just doesn't seem like a possibility now.
It's getting harder and harder. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And have to get a high-end gaming laptop.
Exactly. Yeah, like I'm not trying to move my PC.
Yeah. All right. What else do we got? I'm looking at my list of questions. I think we've pretty much answered all of them. We talked about the favorite series. If you could join OpTic in any way, if you could be a member of OpTic, whether you're a camera guy, a pro player, a content creator, whatever, social media manager, I don't care. What would you want to do and why?
I'd probably just want to do content.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I could. I mean, it just seems so much. It just seems so fun. Like I feel like I could get on every day, stream whatever it is. I mean, it's like I stream now, but it's tough without like a decent audience because it's like I'm just talking to nobody.
Dude, no facts. I've realized over the last few years that I'm not a good streamer. I'm decent on
Like I think I'd
content,
be
but
good.
like streamer wise, it's I just I think part of it is like I don't find myself interesting enough, and
Right.
like especially like so I set a goal over the last 3 months.
Mhm.
3 month to 4 month goals are good for most things. Like you want a better
Yeah.
body, you want to set a workout plan. Look up any workout plan in the world that's going to give you a 12-week program.
Right.
Like that's always 3 months. So I set a 3 month goal of uploading a video a week, podcast every other week, 2 streams a week on the weekends. Give myself a
Right.
stream schedule for the first time. The stream is the
Yeah.
number one thing I've skipped on. Because
Yeah.
when it comes time to
It's
stream, I'm like, I'd rather be editing a video or editing a podcast, or like I would rather be doing something else.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like I got a really good like streaming system. It just sucks now because I'm so busy with like being in season
Yeah.
with soccer, and so it literally cuts my stream time in half. And I'm also at soccer, I'm up on my feet and I'm doing all this
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm tired. So like when I come home, do I want to stream? Do I want to stream from like 9:30 to midnight?
Yeah. And that's like my streams, like, especially being on the West Coast, I feel like a lot of people in the community, by the
Right.
time it's like 7, 8 o'clock for me, it's like midnight for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So many
and I
people
need
are
to.
like Central and East Coast.
I want to find something else to stream because I play a lot of the competitive, and I feel like that isn't as popular to watch. It's not as fun to
Yeah.
watch.
Well, something
Like,
I struggle with is like I have a really hard time now just having fun. Like
yeah,
competitive, and I'm a really competitive person. So like that's part of
mhm,
it. But just like, okay, I'm just gonna chill. I suck at that.
right,
Like it's so hard to do. I'm trying to get into Sea of Thieves
hmm
more just because it is such a casual game.
right, and it's hard to find a good balance there because I want to just be competing and playing at that
Yeah.
higher level, but people come in to watch, I'll tweet out, I'm streaming, and then I'll tweet it out, and I'll get, a few people that come in to watch, and then they just kind of trickle away because it's just that grindy
Yeah.
competitive.
And it's
Not this,
harder, I feel like, to pay attention to like chat and stuff
yeah,
when
yeah,
you're so focused on the game.
can't
It's
do
hard
the
to look
pacing
away and
battle royale where that's where the popularity is. So it's like I gotta like force myself to play battle royales to
yeah.
get
Which
views or
and then it's
popular,
like, oh, this guy looks like he's forcing himself to play this.
and that's
You
that's
could
what it
you
would
could
be.
tell the vibe, yeah. But I can't do
Can't do
Warzone.
hard,
Warzone drives me nuts. I'm trying to get back
right?
into Apex. Apex is fun. I fuck with
Apex.
Apex. But Warzone, it's good. When I lose in Apex, I feel like the other team outplayed me most of the time. When I lose in
Warzone
Warzone,
thing.
yeah, I'm like, that was bullshit. Like,
Right.
this guy just ran me over with the vehicle. He used an RPG.
I
Did
got
he
some
outplay
funny,
me? Sure. But like, it's just annoying.
yeah, and it's just so hard to win with SBMM.
Dude,
That's
that
another thing
too.
that the
I
pubs are
miss,
ruined. Like I
yeah,
could just chill and vibe in pubs,
I can't
but
chill
outside
anymore.
of like public search and destroy, like everything is
I,
just so
yeah.
competitive.
Well, it's like so I started as a sniper, then got into comp, and then I got bad at sniping because I was using ray guns all the
Right.
time and slowed my sensitivity down so I
Yeah.
could hit my shots better. And now I'm like, I love playing competitive Call of Duty. I love being able to like mentally outplay people and, back to what we
Yeah.
talked about at the beginning, like the strategy of it all. But at the same time, like I do like sniping. I like hitting clips. Like I want to get back into montage editing and stuff would be fun. But that means I have to get good with a sniper again. So okay, I start
Right.
using a sniper, but then you start getting shit on because all these matches are so sweaty now.
So
And I
sweaty.
can't stand losing. So I'm like, all right, I got to pull out an AR. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's really hard going between. I'm like, I either
Yeah.
have to fully let go of sniping and get just nasty with ray guns,
Yeah.
or vice versa. I have to just kind of stop caring about losing so much so I can get really good with the sniper again.
Yeah, and that sniping, like the clip hitting and all that stuff, you have to play at a higher sense than you
Yeah.
would for competitive. It's
Well, I
like
used to
you,
play I'd say like my best sensitivity realistically is like 7 or 8 for sniping. But like back in the day, I used to just max it out.
max it out.
Now
Always
I'm
max it out.
like, I play on like 5.5 most of the
Yeah, I
time.
play. Yeah, I play sixes.
Yeah. You AR or sub?
I'm a sub.
Yeah, I'm a like AR flex. So I go like 5.5. Yeah, dude. I need to get. I haven't played COD in I think 2 months.
Yeah,
I've only played games a couple times in the last 2 months. I've just been busy.
I get on every day.
Like between work, I've been getting a ton of hours at work, which is nice. But like, I'm also trying to focus a lot on content. Something I was gonna say earlier, like I barely watch content anymore because I always feel like that's taking away from time editing or making content. So
I feel
until I'm able to make, an income off of content, I'm not going to be able to watch content.
You're not going to be able to put that much,
because all my watching time is creating time now, which is good. Like that's what I needed to get to. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. This is actually going to be one of the longer episodes, which I dig it. Like good vibes all around. I thought about this earlier, like maybe 10 minutes ago. It would be super, super dope. So I mentioned like it's cool if I ever see anyone that's been on the show at an event, I'll know so much about them. But then I took it a step further and I was like, man, it'll be insane once I've had like a good amount of people, right? Like 40, 50 people on here. If we all plan to go on an event and like if we had an entire brick by brick section.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, like I've thought about meeting people at events and I've thought about doing like follow-up like personal interviews with people.
Right.
But I'm like, yo, what if we had our own like a little meetup? That would be dope.
I'm down.
Yo, let's get it.
We'll have to plan that.
All right. So at the end of every episode, I'm sure you've seen Hot Ones, the Hot Wing show, right? I do a similar thing, right? This is your moment to shout yourself out. Do you make you say you stream, do you do any other content, by the way?
No, I don't do any content. I'm just on Twitch, twitch.tv/Helgy, HELGY.
Okay.
You can follow me at Twitter at TheHelgy, TheHelgy. That's pretty much it. The goal, however, is if I can start getting consistently streaming, maybe get an edit where I can do like a stream highlights and then start posting that.
Have you ever edited before?
No, and that's where that drop off.
You have a decent PC. I'm assuming you're playing on it. Like you have a PC that's capable. I would recommend DaVinci Resolve for an editing software. It's free and it's decent. So they do have they have a pro version, which is pretty pricey, but something to get started. That's like my go-to starter editing software for pretty much anybody. And it feels very similar to most. I've worked in Final Cut Pro, DaVinci, and Premiere Pro, and iMovie. Started in iMovie, then moved to Final Cut, then switched to PC, which was only because it's cheaper. I'm a Mac guy, I'm an Apple guy, so. But yeah, if you're looking to get into editing, and for anyone listening that's starting to look at stuff, DaVinci Resolve I think is probably the best starter software. It's free, so you can try it out and figure it out if you actually like editing. Some people you try it out and you're like, yo, this sucks. But at least you're not going to be out of money because of it. And on top of that, there's tons of tutorials, so it's easy to learn. All right, but other than that, you guys know where to find them. Twitter at TheHelgy, TheHelgy, and twitch.tv/Helgy, HELGY. Go check him out if you want to look at some hopefully high level league play game. Seems like he's a high level player, dropping 300 so nukes, getting a nuke with a riot shield and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming on here, man. I appreciate it. Let's hit him with the outro music for those listening. I'll see you on the next one.